Hello everyone, and welcome back to New Comic Book Day here at Comic Vantage. And today we have our books that were released January 16th, 2019, and I'm here to give you some spoiler-filled reviews. If you don't want spoilers, make sure you check the timestamps down below. That way you can skip the books you don't want spoiled. Let's start right off this week with Black Badge number 6 from Boom Studios. This has been a really good book. I'm having a lot of fun with this. And it's the story of alternative Boy Scouts who were actually trained to be assassins and to do covert missions that other people can't or will not do or can't infiltrate, but children are easy to get into. This is a very... right now they're centering around what they're calling the Rainbow Badge Jamboree. So there are other badge teams. So far we've been up with the Black Badge. And then there's also the Blues, and then they have the Pink, which are all the all-girl team. And they're dropped on an island, battle royale style, and they have to make it to the top of a volcano. It's a really cool story. So here we have our nice little Black Badge team, and they've been captured by the Pink Badge, the girls. And there's still one member of the team who's out, and his name is Mitzi. Mitzi's good with a bow and arrow. So Mitzi comes to save them. Big twist is that we find out Mitzi's actually a girl. And they're like, all the other girls are like, why are you here doing this? You know, you can come, you can have a place with us. And Mitzi's like, well, you know, I'm doing it my own way. And that's where everything kind of just sort of ended. She's like, well, nothing will change. I'm still one of the guys. But they kind of look at her a little weird now. Still a really cool story. I'm having a lot of fun with this. So this is a huge thumbs up from me this week. And that there is Black Badge number 6. And next book on our list this week is Electric Warriors number 3 from DC Comics. It's just a quick 6-issue miniseries, but I'm actually having a lot of fun with this book as well. Oh, hey, look, the Wonder Twins. The whole story centers, it's way in the future, and what's going on is there's a planet, it's called Planet Covenant, and this is the monolith. And what happens is that different planets throughout the solar system will send their champions or their electric warriors to this planet to fight one-on-one to the death to settle differences on the planet, such as a war or over resources and things like that. At the end of last issue, Earth had sent 2 champions, one from the beast tribes and one from the humans, and they ended up challenging each other for resources, and this is where our fight takes place. So we have Warcry, who everyone thinks is one person, but he's not. It's actually his brother named Oscar. He took his brother's place because he didn't want his brother to die. And here he is fighting Kana from the Beast People. She's actually an octopus or a squid. And it's really bummed me out when he kills her. He actually just blasts her brains in. And I was like, whoa. I was actually, in shock. I gasped when I read that. So that was kind of cool. Next couple pages, they progress the story and they show you some of the other Electric Warriors, giving you some backstory in on them. So this is a lot of fun. Here we have Celine, and Celine is just total badass. I really like her a lot. Now, by the time we get back to the barracks, we find out that Kana actually is not dead. She tells Oscar that he's an idiot, that most of her squid people keep their brains in their octopus people don't keep most of their brains in their head. They're actually in their tentacles, which allowed her to rejuvenate. Then we keep going on in the story. There's almost kind of like a little behind-the-scenes sort of underground that all these champions are facing with each other. It's almost like a tribe sort of mentality. And there is really something weird going on behind the scenes. So when they finally decide to find out what the higher-ups are doing, this entire little group, like 007 style, sneaks into the main headquarters, and they find out that the bodies of the dead champions are being auctioned off for their body parts, which is rather on the grotesque side, but it's a cool little twist. I want to see where this story progresses. I'm having a lot of fun with this as well. It's a great showing from DC Comics. And, like I said, it's quick. It's going to be 6 issues, only 3 issues in right now. They are very easy to get if you haven't read it yet. And also from IDW/Black Crown this week, we have Lodger number 3. Now, this is a David and Maria Lapham book. If you're fans of David and Maria Lapham, Stray Bullets, it's a pretty good read. But this one really started kind of going all over the place. It was kind of a confusing trip. So far, the entire story has been based around a girl named Ricky Toledo. And when she was younger, she had this drifter cross through her town. His name was Dante. Ended up staying with her and her parents. Killed her mom. Framed her dad for it. And now she's out hunting him. And this dude is actually a serial killer. So this is her entire story. They just kind of go through and are showing the background of when she met him when she was a young girl. And it bounces forward to today, and it throws in some other little storylines that are going in here. It's called Lodger because they leave messages back and forth to each other on a website called Lodger, which is kind of like, I guess, like a Yelp review site for motels and things like that. So this serial killer, Dante, is leaving reviews of every place that he stays, and he kills people. So it's really kind of a neat twist. But I love this black and white artwork. David Lapham does a great job with this. The storyline really does progress very nicely, but it is a little wordy, and this issue I found was a little hard to follow. It's totally still worth it. Completely worth it. Here we have our little Dante here. And his latest victim, which I love the subtlety of this, because this is a woman that he met through this little travel site, ended up hooking up with her. And I love this. Be careful what you wish for, as he reaches for the steak knife because he's getting ready to kill her. The little subtleties like that make this book totally worth reading. So I would recommend it. Like I said, it is a little wordy, but it's worth it. Stick with it. Good story. And that's Lodger number 3. And coming at you from DC Comics this week, we have Red Hood Outlaw number 30. Now, this has been a really cool story. I love Scott Lobdell's writing on this. Man, this is an awesome variant cover for Red Hood this week. I really like that. It looks like there's blood just sort of flowing everywhere. So I think that's what it's supposed to be, and I really hope so, because it's so cool. So we have Red Hood traveling through America, and I believe he headed down to Mexico, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, headed down to Mexico, because he's tracking this criminal cabal called the Underlife. So he tracks them all the way to this prison in Mexico, where he ends up sort of finding their hideout, and he realizes he's being followed as soon as he gets there. See this little drone thing hovering over his shoulder. Not sure what's going on. And it's this character. Oh, and I love this. They're actually showing what's finally happening to Bizarro and Artemis. I cannot wait for them to return. They're in this strange alternate reality. So it'd be really cool to see them come back and kind of give Jason Todd his soul back, really. So anyway, and apparently this dude named Wingman is following the Red Hood. And he is there to talk him into returning to Gotham City. He's saying the people in Gotham City are losing their faith in Batman, and they feel like that he's their salvation, that he should come back and help them out. While he's going through all this, though, all of a sudden this brick wall just breaks apart, smashes his chair, and sets him free. So he starts making his way through the prison, completely forgetting about Wingman, which I thought was kind of odd. And they stumble upon this, which is Batwoman from a couple issues ago started calling these weird robotic animated creatures Mondays. And they are made from Solomon Grundy DNA. And there's so many of them that can possibly be sold to the highest bidder. And also a bunch of drugs. And then he also finds this gentleman named Bunker, who he had run into before, apparently during the Death of the Family storyline. That takes you back, right? And he meets the mastermind behind all this, named Solitary. So, really cool twist. I liked it. Red Hood has been a consistent great read. I would totally recommend anyone pick this up. You know, it's not Dexter Soy artwork, which makes me kind of sad, but still, it's good. I enjoyed the artwork, and of course, Scott Lobdell's writing is just top-notch. Also, from DC Comics this week, we have Scooby Apocalypse number 33. Now, Scooby Apocalypse has been on the top of my must-read list every single week that it's out. It has been consistently an awesome, awesome book. A really cool variant cover here with Scooby, which I thought was kind of neat. So, we left this off last issue with Quentin and Rufus Dinkley. That's right. Velma's brothers showing up and blowing Fred Jones' head off. But this is not the Fred Jones we know. This is the nanite monster Fred Jones. He's like this undead zombie thing that can also talk to the zombies or the other monsters that are roaming around and control them at some level. So they end up taking him back to the base just to interrogate him and to find out what is going on. Now, everything seems to be going really, really bad all of a sudden. And of course, we got Scrappy Doo, and we found out that he was working for the Dinkleys this whole time, keeping an eye on the gang. Although Scooby is like, hey, I've always known you had a good soul. So this kind of told the whole backstory of Scrappy Doo and how the Dinkleys found him and how he came to work for them. I'm loving Scrappy in this story. And a lot of people hate Scrappy as a character, but in this book, man, he's awesome. Seriously, great, great character. He has a lot of depth to him. It's really, really cool. So we get back to our interrogation. And of course, Daphne's got to punch Fred just to make herself feel better. And then they get warning bells that there is a monster army just amassing outside this mall. And that's actually their holdup in a mall, which is kind of like almost every other zombie movie out there. And Fred, it just kind of flips a switch. He's like, oh no, he's here. And they're like, who? Who is here? And we have the first appearance of the Nanite King. And I'm assuming this is the computer AI nanites given consciousness and controlling all these monsters. So this looks like a really cool, it's like the White Walkers, winter is coming. Anyway, yeah, really great story. I'm having a lot of fun with this. Everyone should be reading Scooby. I know, it's Scooby-Doo, but this is not the Scooby-Doo you remember from a kid. Definitely great read. Huge thumbs up. And now, our next book, also from IDW this week, Star Trek vs. Transformers. Now, this is Transformers G1 meets the 1980 Star Trek story. Or Star Trek cartoon. I used to watch on Nickelodeon back when I was a kid. It was a great cartoon, a lot of fun. So when last we left, Enterprise had turned into a Transformer and is now Fortress Tiberius fighting Trypticon, which is just so awesome. And Fortress Tiberius is being controlled by Captain Kirk. His brain is actually melded with Fortress Maximus, creating this awesome, awesome Titan. I gotta admit, when I first started reading this book, I really didn't have huge expectations for it. The first two issues were filled with a lot of references from the TV shows, both G1 Transformers Generation 1 and from the 1980s Star Trek cartoon, along with references to the movies and things like that. So it was just a huge nostalgia trip. It was a lot of fun to read. Now we get into issue number 4 here, and this story is actually getting good. I mean, this is really, really cool. We have Kirk trying desperately hard to keep control of Fort Max. Now, the reason Fort Max is taken on, he crashed on the planet thanks to Trypticon. And the reason he's taking the form of Enterprise is because it's the form that Captain Kirk knows, even though his mind is still melded with Fortress Maximus. And Fortress Maximus is trying to take over desperately. This entire time, Starscream has gotten a hold of the dilithium crystals and has taken off. He's left everyone behind, double-crossing the Klingons. Megatron is coming hot in his tail. And he's heading right for the Klingon homeworld. So now we have this whole moral quandary where the Autobots are like, hey, it's bad guys going after bad guys. I say let them go. And then you have the entire crew of the Enterprise saying, no, we value all life in the universe, so we must go protect the Klingons. Really, really cool. I'm liking this a lot. It's a great story. It's a lot of fun. But like I said, by the time we get to the end here, we got Starscream landing on Kronos saying, hey, this is my world now. So I'm excited to see where the rest of this story goes. Like I said, the first few issues were just complete and utter just nostalgia and fun. And now the story's getting good. So definitely worth reading this week. And also from IDW, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder in Hell, #1. Yes, you heard that correct. Shredder in Hell. Here is his headless body. Shredder is dead. So we have this whole little storyline here. It gives you a little recap of, Shredder losing his head. And he's given a choice. And he decides to go to this, dream state where him and Splinter would play as children, and they were friends, and they were happy. But Little do we know, this is not the dream world he was promised or sent to. This is actually a nightmare world controlled by Takeshi Tatsuo, who is the original Dragon Warrior who Shredder is supposed to be kind of the reincarnation of, and he controls this form and the power involved. And you see the foot symbol on his chest. He's the original leader of the Foot Clan. So we have Shredder just being ripped apart, tossed around, completely getting his ass kicked, until he meets up with his friend Yoshi. And he decides that he wants to fight against this thing. He almost like it seems like it's going to be sort of a redemption story for Shredder. I did not see that coming. So he has to traverse this entire kind of nightmare dream world with funky little Splinter, who turns completely into a rat and just comes and hangs out with him on his shoulder to go on this little adventure with him. I really, really think this is going to end up being an awesome, awesome story. It's, like I said, it's Shredder's own personal hell, but I really feel like it's going to be a redemption story. And this really, really intrigued me too. We have like these zombie evil turtles here. So, I mean, even Shredder, you can see the look on his face where Splinter, he has no idea where they came from. This was better than I had expected. I was expecting something a little more, I don't know, I don't want to say lighthearted, but really more kid-centric, and it really does not feel that way. But I think this is going to be really good, so I would suggest everyone grab this right away. There's been just huge buzz about it already since the announcement was made for it, and it's kind of lived up to the hype, so I'm very excited by that. And that's Shredder in Hell, #1. And coming out of Aftershock Comics, we have a Walk Through Hell #7. So excited for this book. Garth Ennis is the master storyteller when it comes to mind trips and horror. So we have our two agents here. These are our heroes, and this is McGregor and Shaw, who have ventured into this weird warehouse where they had two agents going before, FBI agents, Hunsaker and Goss, never came back out. They sent in a SWAT team who came back out a few minutes later, and they all shot each other in the head. So it's just a huge, huge twist and turn every time you look around. So we have Carnahan here, who is our child killer, supposed to be dead, and he's in this weird warehouse world as well, just at the base of this giant evil cathedral. And now he seems to be playing their twisted guide, and he starts talking to them about how this entire thing has become sort of biblical. That there was an original couple who wandered into the warehouse. It was a man and a woman, and the woman was pregnant. And they're like, "Are you kidding me? Are you trying to tell the nativity here, where it's a man and a woman on Christmas Eve wandering into a manger or into an inn?" Really, really cool. Here, this is their captain. Her name is Driscoll. She's decided to go in after her people, and she's messaging Goss, who's supposed to be in this warehouse, but she cannot find him. He said he sees her, and she has no idea where he's at. This entire time, Carnahan is just doing his thing, just being creepy. Totally, totally creepy. So then we start getting some backstory here. I don't know why they throw these little segments in of their past, like different stakeouts and things. It does lay down some character design, but I think it can do without it. Still, it's a lot of fun. We come back to Driscoll here, who's talking to Goss still. And this creeped me out because he's like, look at these text messages. Fingers and thumbs. Can't help but see. Why are you hurting me? And she's like, hurting? And then it dawns on her she's walking on him. You see the teeth? You see the pile of blood there? And then she actually notices all of his body parts laying everywhere, and she just text messages him, "So sorry." I mean, that's just, actually, was that her text message or his? I don't even know, but wow, it is just crazy. This book is insane. So finally, our heroes here, McGregor and Shaw, finally talk Carnahan into answering their questions, their important ones, like, are they alive? Are they dead? Is this hell? What is going on? And he's like, all nonchalant. He goes, well, let's do this properly. And he turns this weird cathedral into a police interrogation room for his own interrogation. Really excited. I love this book. Like I said, you never know what is going to happen. It's just crazy twists and turns every time you look around. It's a lot of fun. We got 7 issues in. It is not hard to find. If you can find it, though, issue 1 has an all-black cover, just complete black with the logo. Gorgeous book. It's so cool. I would recommend getting that one if you can find it. And now I have saved the very best book for last this week. Yes, this book right here. I'm just going to tell you right now, this book is my pick of the week. Donny Cates has taken this story and has kicked it in the teeth. I absolutely loved this book. My mouth opened in shock. I laughed several times. It is just insane. If you haven't been following the story, quick lowdown here. We have this woman, her name is Sadie. Sadie has given birth to what she believes is the Antichrist. Yes, she's had a virgin birth. Pop this kid out, who was then sucked into the Red Realm, which is supposed to be hell. And her sister, Nicole, went with this kid. So, at the end of the last issue, she meets up with Satan. Okay? And he's like, what? I have a kid? He had no idea he had a child. So Sadie's like, okay, everybody just stop. Let's just stop what we're doing because her dad's just kind of shooting him. First, she reunites with her sister who's been caring for her kid, Clark. Which, beautiful, touching moment. Gotta love that. And then they get back to this whole Satan thing. So first, the dad's like, no, not another step monster. And she's like, well, he's just a kid. And her dad's like, what? A kid? With a question mark. And then Satan goes on to explain. He goes, okay, this is interesting. He said he manifests himself to whatever a person's greatest fears or desire is. So to Sadie, he looks like this. Okay. He's a young man. Red hair. Kind of cute. To this woman's son, he's a wizard with a Harry Potter hat. To her, he is a field of rotting corpses of her son. And this one amused me. So this is Sadie's dad. And he's like, so, you're from the Midwest, Utah, military training, yada, yada. He goes, to you, I think I look somewhat biblical. I almost died laughing when I saw this. I mean, seriously, this is what he looks like to Sadie's father. Crazy. So they all end up going back to Satan's house to go hang out and to find out what is going on. And this made me laugh too. Along the way, he wants to make everybody food. Satan, he wants to cook for people. So he asks him how many kittens he should grab. He's going to serve up kittens. So that made me laugh. And here they are, Satan's beach house, all hanging out, trying to figure out what is going on. I love this. Here. He's going to slit some kitten's throat to make some soup. I'm telling you, this book was amazing this week. So we get down to this whole thing where Sadie's like, hey, what do you want with us? And Satan's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. You just came to me and told me I had a kid. And then Sadie lays out this whole big cult with a ritual impregnating the virgin. And he's like, nope. Wasn't me. I did not do that. And he goes on to explain that everything that they've learned about the Antichrist and Satan coming to Earth and wanting to destroy everything was a complete and utter lie. And he ends this with this. He goes, you're missing the big bits. I'm saying you aren't my responsibility. I didn't knock you up, kid. The big guy did. He's actually literally telling him that God is creating the Antichrist as a way to perpetuate his own sort of myth, which is totally screwed with my head. I absolutely loved that. This one here really got me too. He goes, I don't know, virgin birth that gives the world a child that people waged war over for thousands and thousands of years? Sound familiar? Sadie's like, are you telling me Jesus Christ was an Antichrist? So, like I said, Donny Cates took this story. I'm sure this story may offend some people out there, but, it's a story. And Donny Cates, masterful writer, and he really just he blew me away with this one. I absolutely love it. This is my story of the week. Huge thumbs up. Absolutely love it. So, let's get back to the recap on the rest of these books. So, what do we have? We have Black Badge number 6 from Boom Studios. Consistently good read. I'm loving the storyline, the backstory, the intricacies, all kinds of stuff. It's just a fun book. You should be reading it. And then we have Electric Warriors number 3. This has been a good story. Like I said, this issue got a little, I don't know, it was a little convoluted, but still, it was really good. This ending was totally worth it. And then Lodger number 3. Another one where this one got a little wordy, but totally worth it. Maria and David Lapham are just, they are perfect for writing these kind of crime dramas with all kinds of twists and turns and plots. It's awesome. And then we have Red Hood Outlaw number 30. Scott Lobdell, beautiful writer. Pick it up. Scooby Apocalypse number 33. This is another one that should, you really, just everybody, just put it on your pull list. Really, I'm tired of saying this. Just grab it. Grab one issue and read it. You are going to love it. Star Trek vs. Transformers number 4. This book just really surprised me. The storyline just got jacked up and it's really good. Come on, where are you? And then Shredder in Hell number 1. Again, I wasn't expecting much for this, and then all of a sudden, wham, it just kind of hit me. And I really think we're looking at a Shredder redemption here. You know, at least I hope so. And a Walk Through Hell number 7. If you like stories that just screw with your brain, this is right up your alley. And last but not least, my favorite book of the week, Baby Teeth number 14. This thing just, I mean, I loved it. Seriously, it was such a great read. Like I said, I laughed. I cried. It was a good time. I mean, all right, people. Those are the books for the week. These are my opinions. Your mileage may vary. Thank you, everyone who subscribes and watches. You guys are amazing. You're the reason I do this. If it wasn't for you, I mean, you know, I wouldn't have a channel. So you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. If you're new to the channel, hit that little CV down in the bottom right-hand corner. Click it, and then click the bell right afterwards. That way you get all my notifications and all the cool stuff that I have coming out. And like always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and take it easy.